Harper, are you surprised that Vlad ended up getting $500 million?
You have to be somewhat surprised, Sal. Although, I mean, Toronto's in a bad spot. They haven't been able to get any of the big names to sign with them, so I think they figured they had to keep their own guy. I guess this is what it took. I mean, it's a gamble for sure because, look, he's had 2 great years. He's had 2 good to solid type years. You don't know for sure what he is yet. He's also had weight issues in his past when he was younger. So, I mean, that's a long time to trust this guy to be an all-time great. He's not in Soto's class as a hitter. He doesn't have that kind of plate discipline. I don't think he has that kind of all-fields power. I mean, he's got the power, but the ability to hit all fields all the time. So it's more than I would have given him, I'll say that.
But you think about it, that's Toronto's problem, right? It's not anybody else's. But I think from a baseball standpoint, I think it's good because, you know, you want to see homegrown stars stay with their original teams, grow with their teams, kind of like an identity just to continue to build the fan base and the growth and the popularity of Major League Baseball. I agree with Harp, though. I mean, that is a lot of money you want to give a guy. But in a way, he's a native son of Toronto, of Canada. His father, of course, playing there all these years. And look, the Blue Jays, somebody had to take their money, right? Because Ohtani didn't, Soto didn't. They had to sign somebody. So good to see that it's Vlad.
Yeah, he wasn't getting that on the open market, so he's going to get the max money from the Blue Jays. Andy, what does this mean for Pete Alonso?
Well, obviously, like, the first reaction is to say it means it's more likely Alonso plays somewhere else next year because if this is going to be the market for first baseman. This is never going to be what David Stearns pays for a first baseman. But I wouldn't go too far on that because Guerrero's younger. As you guys were saying, the Blue Jays had to sign him. He would have been crazy not to take this because he's not getting it on the open market. He means so much more to Toronto than anybody else. So I think it's hard to make a comparison to what does this mean for any other situation. It does mean, and this is why they pay me to be their insider here at SNY, it means he's not going to play for the Mets. And that was a thing.
Bing.
To take you back through that, though, there was a possibility at one point, and we talked about this in the show at the time, the Mets were talking to Toronto and talking amongst themselves about trading for Guerrero. That was going to be for a 1-year thing because, as you know, Sal, the Mets believed at one point Alonso was signing elsewhere. Obviously, this shook out completely differently. The Blue Jays also made a really good offer for Alonso, and Alonso ultimately didn't want to take that. So those two were relevant to each other for a while, but I don't see them relevant to each other now going forward because Alonso's not getting $500 million from the Mets or anybody else, so I just don't see the comparison.
And Pete's a little bit older, too, right?
Exactly.
And look, I mean, you take the encouraging signs you've seen so far, but, guys, it's 9 games, right? I mean, we would all love to sit here and say that, you know, Pete's going to have this monster season, but we know what Pete's relationship is to this fan base. Met fans want him here. They want him to be a lifetime Met. I mean, that was expressed, of course, during the offseason, and it's really going to come down to Pete himself. We know what David Stearns feels philosophically about committing those type of dollars to a first baseman who, let's face it, is not super athletic, is not what we call a 5-tool player. But if he goes out there and produces this year, Mets have another great season, you might be talking about a guy who could be sticking around Queens a while longer.
Well, I wonder what the open market is now for Pete. I think Pete and Boris had at least 200 in their mind going into the offseason. Obviously,
at one point, for sure.
Oh, okay, but now Vlad, and yes, he's younger, but eliminate some of those years from being 4 years younger and say that Pete's half the player of Vlad, which, by the way, he's more than half the player of Vlad. Yeah. So if I'm Pete, I got to be thinking, hey, he got 14 years, $500 million. I can't get close to half of that?
And this is why I'm saying that was my first instinct was maybe this means he finds a great deal elsewhere. The other thing to remember, Alonso's not going to have a qualifying offer attached this time. And Boris believes that it's that qualifying offer. You're not really an unrestricted free agent. It's a real drag on free agency because teams don't want to give up that draft pick for a player attached to the qualifying offer. They can't. The Mets can't put that QO on Alonso again. So let's say he has a really good year, which I think he will. I really think he's on track to have a really good year. Let's say that he obviously won't have the qualifying offer, and with the ability to negotiate with this Guerrero contract in mind, he could really cash in somewhere else.
And by the way, as Cohen has always operated, according to the market. If Pete goes out there and the market is 200, 225, Cohen can say, all right, we'll give you 250.
Right, if that's the market, that's...
But he's got to do it over a full year. He's got to do it.
I understand that, but I'm just saying whatever the market says. Yeah, he's got to do it for... And also, he doesn't project the way that Vlad does it, being younger, whatever. You know, Vlad's obviously younger. All right. What does this mean, Harp, for Kyle Tucker and the Yanks' potential pursuit?
I would think it puts Tucker front and center, Sal. I mean, this guy, I think he's a better hitter than Vlad. But Vlad was a natural fit there as a first baseman. Goldschmidt, you could be moving on after a year there. And now the outfield could be a little crowded if you do get him. But you can move Bellinger to first base. I don't know. I've heard DeRosa say, and he managed him in the Team USA, that Tucker could play center field. I don't know about that, but somebody's going to have to play center field because you're going to have, unless you move Dominguez back there at some point. So, but the guy's a great hitter. He's a perfect fit for Yankee Stadium. I think he's the guy you give the money to.